This is Warriors Anonymous.
All right, welcome back to Warriors Anonymous. Man, what a week, Warriors fans. I know you're probably maybe just cracking a little bit of a smile there for once, which is nice. My name is Jared Cronin. We're going to get straight into it tonight because we've got some really good stuff to cover and a little bit of a twist on things as well. First of all, we've got the lads, the regulars. We've got Moneta Sauce is back. Hey, bro.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. Good. Daniel Wharakura is also back. Hey, man.
Kia ora whānau, how's it going?
Sure, bro. All good. And also, returning from last week, Isaac Sauce, mate. You called in sick, bro, but we heard some rumours there might have been some dodgy ramen or something, man.
Dodgy ramen?
Because you were posting up some photos of ramen, and Moneta outed you, and you said you were posting some photos about food, and then within a few hours you were calling in sick, so we kind of added up, the 2 and 2 and got 5. He doesn't even remember.
Any ramen on Sunday?
You were posting pictures of chow siu pork and boiled eggs, and it was accumulating into a ramen.
We've got him.
No, I didn't have ramen. I didn't eat that with ramen.
Okay, it must have been.
Is this going to turn into a John's Brothers drama? We've got the Sauce Brothers drama now.
The ramen fiasco. No, I didn't have any ramen on Sunday.
Oh, okay. What was the ingredients of a ramen? Chow siu pork and the soy sauce boiled eggs. But anyways,
we'll move right along.
We could go on about this for
Sorry,
hours.
Brookesy.
There's no ramen.
Sorry, Brooksy, man.
We're in the middle of this, Brookesy.
You guys will be seeing a new face.
I support Queensland and my brother supports New South Wales.
Here we go. Save it for
Well,
later.
it is a John's feud. It literally is a John's feud.
Here we go. Save it for later. You guys might be noticing a new face on the screen tonight. We've got a special guest joining us. Nathan Brooks. We've got Brookesy from SEN 1170, Sydney's home of sport. Bro, welcome along to Warriors Anonymous, and thank you for joining us as our St George Illawarra delegate for this episode.
Oh, thanks for having me, gents. I believe this is the first time you've had a guest on, and what timing! It's really not fair. But I'll front up, and we'll talk about the game. We'll talk about a few other things, but thanks for having me.
Bro, it's good to see you still smiling, man. And in fact, it's kind of interesting because since we've been doing this podcast, we've kind of had basically some weeks where we've been celebrating, not many, but other weeks we've been kind of using it as therapy to kind of get around each other and support each other through the tough times. So bro, we're happy to extend that olive branch to you tonight, man, as a struggling Dragons fan, but. Mate, first of all, I'm going to ask you a bit of a loosening up question. Just as an outsider, a non-Warriors fan, what are your thoughts on the name The Wars?
I didn't really know it existed until a couple of years ago. And it was probably because SEN signed up over in New Zealand and SENZ started, and then a couple of the talent were using Wars. I kept hearing Wars and I'm like... See, I'm early days to it, so I sort of like it. It's really good.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think you got to run with it.
It's funny because a lot of it's created a lot of division amongst Warriors fans. People either love it or they hate it. So, but yeah, we're certainly. I think as a group we're pretty much open to it, aren't we, boys?
Up the wires, bro.
Yeah,
up the wires.
The wires.
It's good.
I'm not against it, but I probably wouldn't want to use it. So.
Okay, fair enough.
It's
bro.
sort of good because you've got for instance, I like NBA as well. So you got the Golden State Warriors who are the Dubs. So it's sort of good that you don't run with that and you have something else as the little nickname of the nickname. So I think Wars is a good option instead of going Dubs or whatever the other options are.
Yeah, for sure, bro. I like that. Now, you're on here to, first of all, we'll have a little look. I know we've got to do it, bro. As Warriors fans, we've got to enjoy the good times, but obviously there was the game on Friday night in Wollongong, your old neck of the woods, I believe. The Warriors came away with a pretty good victory there, coming in with a 48 points to 18 win in Wynn Stadium, so that's nice. So there we go. There's the on-screen sort of specifics. Bro, what did you make as a Dragons fan? What did you make of the particular game?
Well, it was going to always be tough from the get-go. with the whole Ben Hunt situation unfolding this week. Like, it totally dominated the pre-game, analysts, like what they wanted to talk about. And it didn't really... we weren't really talking about leading into the game, how the teams were going. The Warriors had won a few really, really good games recently, particularly the one down in Canberra. And, it sort of just dominated everything, all the pre-game for Channel 9, for Fox, even on radio. And it seemed early on that the Dragons had a bit of an opportunity to roll in and put in a good performance. Benny Hunt turned up. He started, which was good signs for Dragons fans. But then, like, once they started getting a roll on, particularly at the back end of that first half, I think you see it there, Montoya, Siren and Ford, 3 tries in 7 minutes. I think that really started the whole, this could be a bit of a bloodbath down here. But credit to the Warriors. They were awesome. A lot of good performances. Saw Dallin, but Sean Johnson, man, he is having some season, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely. I was actually that led into the next question. Anyway, it was who you thought were particular standouts in the game. Who did you like?
Oh, seriously, it was throughout the squad. You had the 2 wingers were great. You had Sean Johnson controlling. Adam Fanua-Blake was pivotal in those first few tries at the start of the second half, ball playing. And, he isn't I don't know what you guys think of his development in terms of that area of his game, but that's just come on so much since he was at the Dragons and the Seagulls. Like, it's something that's creating another dimension for the team. I thought Luke Metcalf's been filling in nicely at 5'8". That's going to be a bit of a conundrum for Webby when Tavare Martin comes back. So I thought it was great. Jackson Ford had a good game against his old club. The bench was solid. Man, it's probably a quicker question saying who didn't you think had a good performance? But it was as close to a 10 out of 10 performance from the Warriors, I thought, from the outside looking in as possible.
That's actually that's good to get that outside perspective as well, because usually when we do this podcast in the first couple of years, we'd kind of watch a game where we get a hiding and try and take positives from it. And sort of this year, we're watching games where we're winning by quite a bit and poking holes in it. So it's good to, get a little bit of fresh eyes on things before we, get too carried away with things. But Isaac, bro, that's the first time we've scored 30-plus points in 3 straight games since about 2007 or so. What's been the key to unlocking that sudden potency?
Andrew Webster? Probably. more than likely. Ball playing medals is a big part. Sean Johnson just getting a second lease on life, and everyone just singing from the same song sheet, I guess. And you're seeing some real unusual stuff like AFB ball playing out wide with one of those tries. We can attack from different parts of the field, and we can set up. They made it look flawless in some cases. They just knew exactly what was going to go next, and then they just pulled it off seamlessly. So points are just, I feel like they left more points out there as well. So that was pretty nice. I was texting my boss like they could be racking up 70 here at one stage. So it's just awesome to see.
Yeah, it was funny watching on, even at half time, I started having a sneaky little look at the points differential between the Storm and us. And I was like, come on, boys, add another 17 points to it. We ended up adding another 16, so we won behind them anyway. But Brookesy, there was maybe a little bit of a moment of, we'll call it maybe controversy during the game. And I'd love to get your take on it, as well as the boys as well. And that was this moment here. The Bailey Sirenen was awarded a try. And it's a bit of it's been a bit contentious from different media outlets from what I've seen. I'd be interested to see what your take on it is. We've got a system here on Warriors Anonymous where we go hard or nah. So you're either one way, which is hard, or nah, which is the other way. So what did you think, bro? Was that a try or not a try?
Look, if Origin didn't happen on Wednesday and that try was awarded, I would say nah. But it's hard. Like, if this is the thing about the NRL. When you watch a game and then the next game you see a similar sort of thing and it's given, it softens your, I guess, negativity towards it, because you go, well, if they gave it on Wednesday, they got to give it tonight. So, like, again, as a Dragons fan, I saw it and went, nah, and then I was like, well, it's happening. This is the sort of stuff that's getting awarded now. It looked like he had one finger on it, and it was probably a better grounding than what we saw on Wednesday night. So, yeah, look, I hate to say it for my fellow Dragons fans, I'm hard on it.
Good man. I like that. Now, bro, you are we told you from Wollongong originally, is that right? From the Gong?
Yeah, born in the Gong, so I was a Steelers fan. Born 82 too, so the same year they came into the comp. So a couple of my uncles played with and grew up with a few Steelers. So I was privy to getting into the sheds when I was a kid, meeting some of the players like Chris Walsh, Rod Wishart, Brett Rod, Paul McGregor, like that really good era of Steelers. Like not necessarily good on the ladder, but good in terms of, you know, they had some icons and they were performing a bit better than when they first started in the comp. So, yeah, 99 came over to the merger. So, theoretically, I'm more of a Dragons fan than I am a Steeler. But because I started my love of rugby league as a Steelers fan, that's where my origins lie. And, you know, seeing players like Jackson Ford go over to the Warriors and play well, Gerringong boy, like it's such an I shouldn't say untapped, because a lot of good performers have come from down the South Coast, but it's something that the Dragons have to look at, and maybe you guys can have a sneaky look at too, because you've had success there with Jackson. There's so many good players playing in Group 7 for Gerringong, Kiama, that can really fill some spots in New South Wales Cup and in your lower grades. But yeah, it's a bit disappointing to see where the team's at the moment because of that talent pool and the players that they've had. I was saying to the boys on Joel and Fletch, it all stemmed around 2018. When the team had a really good finals run. They were pretty much a field goal away from playing a prelim. Then that off-season, Jack DeBellin happens. That whole saga starts. Like what Paul McGregor did at the club. Like I disclosed that I was a big Steelers fan, but I think he gets a bit of a knock for being a decent coach from time to time. But what he did for that club at that time, and to get that squad going, bringing in James Graham, bringing Tarek Sims back to the area, like having that team humming. Tyson Frizzell was playing some of his best footy. He's back in Origin now this year. But, yeah, it's just disappointing to see what's happened over the last 5 seasons to the club. And it's just like you see what's happened over the last 5 weeks, and it is an absolute shit show down there.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you would have, I'm guessing, probably seen a few games in the Gong. Over at Wynn Stadium there in your time. It's been a bit of a graveyard for the Warriors. That was only their second win at the ground. But, bro, what's it like to watch a game there and, you know, like just, what's the atmosphere like? And give us the rundown on what it's like there.
I guess the ocean's a bit of a point of difference, right? You've got that just behind the hill. It can bring some different conditions in too. It can get a bit cold, can get a bit windy. I guess it would be on par with Mount Smart in terms of, you know, like that wind chill factor, not necessarily the temperature. But yeah, it's an interesting one because the stadium has developed a couple of times since I've been down. I don't get down there that regularly. They've got that big Western stand there, which is great to watch footy from. The hill's a great spot to watch the footy from. You got the Steelworks down the south, which sort of, you know, that's iconic because they were named the Steelers, and you sort of look down there. I was down there for a few St George games and Manly games over my time, and it was always a contentious spot to stand because there would be a lot of travelling fans, and just it'd pretty much be 50-50. Like you saw on Friday, there was a good turnout of Warriors fans at the stadium. It was sort of a semi-home game as such in the second half because the fans were just cheering for the Warriors. And yeah, it is. I believe to be one of the best places to watch rugby league, not just the NRL, just anywhere in the world. And it's got a nice little brewery at the northeastern corner under that that weird stand that's like probably just in the in goals, and it faces the in goals. It's like it's just behind there, and there is a funny sort of story towards to why that's been built there. It's all infrastructure that came from the 2000 Olympics. So they pretty much just packed it all up and put it on semi-trailers and took it down to the Gong. So they're just trying to recycle all the stuff that the temporary stands that they used in some of the events that were at Sydney 2000. But yeah, it's a pretty iconic ground. I'd love to see them play there a bit more, but like the crowd there, it was 9,000. It's sort of not the best venue Friday night when it's pretty cold. And yeah, but I believe it to be one of the best.
It's almost like I guess as a fan watching it on TV, you feel a little bit robbed when it's a night game because you don't get the background of the ocean and the beach there, and just adds the to the spectacle. Now, Buddha, I want to throw a question over to you, bro. What impressed you most about the victory for the Warriors on Friday? That right side attack was pretty sharp.
Oh yeah. I think across the board we had some really great shape. I think Brookesy mentioned, who didn't play well. And at times it was a little scrappy, and, I guess we got a little bit fit carnival as we're throwing the ball around. But the one moment that, for me, that sort of cemented the difference in our team was we go down to 12 men and we find a way to create an overlap out on the right-hand side. And you watch Shawnee pointing, you see Adam pointing to Walker to get him to run that lead runner play, and they play out the back. And you go back 12 months when the Sharks had a 2-man deficit, 13 versus 11.
The Cronulla first 11? Yeah.
The Sharks first 11 created an overlap against us. And so for us to go from where that was to where we were on the weekend, on Friday night, just in that one play summed up kind of, how different we are and how smart, how much of a 40 team we've become in the last 12 months.
Yeah, nice. Now, things haven't probably gone as well at the Dragons, fair to say, for the past 12 months. And as, Warriors fans, we understand that. Like, we were really in the thick of it there for the past couple of years. So, bro, what do you think, Brookesy, that is, bro, what are the real problems at the club, do you think?
So from the outside looking in, it just seems like that not everyone's on the same page. We've seen it with the West Tigers, the merger situation where you've got, representatives of one side on the board and then representatives on the other side of the board. I think that's where a lot of, I think there's a lot of, confusion around direction to the club strategically as well. I think I've seen Ryan Webb come out a couple of times, and he's fronted the media, which is great, but I don't know if the plans there, like the strategic plans there, they were unanimous in signing Hook. They were all on board the Anthony Griffin signing, and they let Mary go and had Dean Young there as interim, and I thought it was a good situation. He started drafting in a lot of old Queenslanders into the squad. And that to me was a bit of a alarm bell, red flag sort of scenario where it's like, we're just bringing in people on short-term contracts, and then they started playing him over the young guys coming through. So you see the likes of Jackson Ford leave the club. He told Tarek Sims to go. Tyson Frizzell before that left to the Newcastle. Paul Vaughan, Matt Duffy were all shown the door. It just, I don't know. There was I'm not saying all the decisions were bad, but there was a lot of change. But it wasn't at it was to the detriment of the locals and the juniors that were coming through. I thought he came in being an awesome youth coach. He coached the under-20s at the Broncos. He coached Benny Hunt there. He given a lot of young Broncos an opportunity when he was there. He did the same when he was at Penrith. And I just think the direction there's an issue. And look, if you've got a board like that, where you've got a lot of people pulling one way and others pulling the other, like the Jason Riles scenario, compare that to what happened at the Titans this week, like where there was no leaks. It was done. They did it. It was like Eddie Jones, right? When Hamish McLennan did that, it was like no one knew that Eddie Jones was going to be coming in. Dave Rennie didn't know his situation. The Titans did exactly the same thing. And the Dragons it was out in the media. The media knew he was getting sacked. He drove in and drove out. Like it was like served up on a platter what they were doing. And that's a massive issue when you're running a professional sports team that all this information's getting out. So how, like, when you're a free agent looking to come to that club now, you're going to be like, I don't want to go there. Like, this is an absolute rabble. Whereas the Titans now, they've got a direction. They upset the Broncos today. And it's like, oh, mate, they've got all these young guys and I want to go there. Like, how's that? How's that for two polar opposites in terms of running an organisation? So, short answer.
Just on the Titans, just on the Titans thing, while you raised it, Holbrook, he didn't know nothing, did he?
No.
I believe he just rocked up and they were like, oh, Justin, can you come aside?
Yeah.
Press release is about to go out in 20 minutes. Thanks. And he was like,
but I won.
Dead man walking.
Exactly. But I won last week. Yeah.
But that's what I was getting at in terms of strategic management and planning for the future and wanting to win premierships. Like, you've got to make those decisions, right? Like, you can't. You're looking at the Titans. You're going, there's been a lot of late comebacks. We've given up massive leads. We're winning first halves. We're giving up second halves. Like, Justin Holbrook, by all regards, from, like, Joel Kane knows him quite well. Awesome bloke. Whenever he's come on the show, very good, respectful, awesome chat. Like, he's just, and every player that we get on, we're like, yeah, Holbrook's awesome. Titsy's awesome. Yeah. Like, you're getting all this stuff. Like, there was no, like, oh yeah, it's all good. Like, blah, blah, blah. It was all positive. And you know what? The Titans have made a decision. They're going to stick by that decision. They're bringing Desi this year. Jim Lenahan's just chalked up a W in his first game, like Ryan Carr did with us with the Roosters. But yeah, there's optimism there because they've got young guys coming and potentially getting our man Benny Hunt next year. So, like that, I believe if we acted a bit better in terms of running an organisation rather than letting everyone know, because that's what the board has to be. It's like you got Wynn and you got St George, and we've all got to say aye to decisions that we have to make. Like, the private ownership of the Titans, that's awesome. Like, you can just get shit done, and that's what I guess the Warriors have done. Right, last year they changed a lot of stuff. They brought in people that are doing their job, that are playing well. Chance has been an amazing signing, and getting Sean Johnson back, from Cronulla. I was going to ask you guys a question about that too. Do you think his stint in Cronulla has been really good for him and the Warriors, I guess, in this situation where he's gone out, seen like how another NRL team operates? Like, Cronulla has some really good attacking plays and have done in the last few seasons. And you can sort of see he's brought that over to the Warriors. Is that something that's, I know I've changed of tact here, but is that something that you guys have noticed this season?
I'd 100% agree with that. Monet, what do you reckon, bro?
I think I was listening to the commentary, and they were talking about, he learned quite a bit in terms of playing, the Sharks and the Flanagan and all that stuff. But I think the change has been that I think he's just much happier being home now. And that was part of the commentary that, he's closer to family. He's closer to his farm now. He doesn't feel so distant, and that's affecting his play. And you could just tell when he's like playing. You see him actually smiling when he's playing his footy now. And so he's actually enjoying it. And with that comes his confidence. And now he's able to do the things that you would say he's almost playing better than he was when he debuted at 2011. He's much more better at game management and so forth and stuff like that. But Brookesy, I was actually on that with Flanagan, because he's going to be the coach next year for Dragons. What do you think about that? How do you think he could possibly change things for the Dragons?
I'm going to be honest, I'm not happy with it. I'm not happy with what he did at the Sharks, and I don't think he should be getting a second chance as a NRL first grade coach. I think it was horrendous what he did, and he was doing stuff while he was suspended. Look, he's won a premiership, and like, to put that aside, like, he's won a premiership. He's been at the club already, which is positives. But I would rather take Ben Hornby, Dean Young. I would have gone all in on Riles. I don't care about this rookie coach thing. I just want someone that's respectful, that hasn't done what he's done before, and someone that can come in and, I believe, be a good leader for young men. I just don't think he should be given the opportunity to lead another NRL team ever again.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess from the Warriors' perspective, we've seen, what what benefits can be had by having some fresh juice, from Andrew Webster, as opposed to the fresh juice from Shane Flanagan back in the days. Now,
Well done.
Universal soldier, man.
one question I've got to ask you, bro, is you've had to deal with a particular set of circumstances with, supporting what has become a merger club. So, as a Steelers fan,
dirty merger club. Can we just put it there? DMC. I'm only kidding, man.
bro, do Steelers fans feel as part of the team as they should do nowadays?
Jeez, I think the Steelers fans have been pretty accommodating to St George. I think there was inevitability that when Super League happened and it was getting to the stage where teams had to go, that the Steelers would have been one of the first teams to go due to financials. And so it seemed like a really good merger at the time in terms of, the colours and the location of the team we were merging with. A lot of Wollongong guys have gone up and played for St George. We've always had a decent little rivalry. The Dragons fans have come down. We've gone up. There've been good crowds for Illawarra St George games. We had a bit of a run-in the 92 finals. It was, I felt it was a good rivalry and a good location for a merger to happen. And I think Steelers fans have, embraced it. I remember that 99 going to games wearing Steelers jerseys. It was pretty bad. You would get absolutely hounded, things thrown at you, because you were, 100%. It was really bad. There was a semi-final, I want to say 2004 against Manly at the SFS, and we thumped them. Trent Barrett had an amazing game. It might have even been earlier. It might have been 02. And I remember a guy, I was wearing a Steelers jersey, and he pushed me in the back, and he was like, "Get that off you! Don't take that off!" And I'm like,
wow.
"What the hell?" And I pushed him back, and he fell over. And Manly fans were around going, "Oh, they're even fighting after a win." So there was little elements to that, and I'm sure Wes and Balmain, there's been circumstances there too, particularly bigger history there with those two clubs. But yeah, I think as a whole, Steelers fans have got around it. They've embraced it. The win buying in and taking over the Steelers part of the merger. You can tell that there's a lot of interest in the Gong with the side. They've got the Centre of Excellence at the Uni of Wollongong. They've trained down at Wollongong. They play just as many games at Wollongong as they do Cogra. So you can't really fault what the club has done to embrace the Wollongong area as well.
Nice.
So yeah, to me, it's after a few early situations, I think it's been pretty good in terms of that.
Yeah, awesome, bro. Now your work week, you work on SEN 1170s, the run home, with Joel Kane, Brian Fletcher, and a number of other guys as well, at different times. Bro, what's it like, working with those guys, and what are they like in real life?
Yeah, it's great. I was at Fox Sports before radio, so Fletch sort of teed me up about the show happening, and when I heard it, I was like, because I'd worked with Joel as well. I produced a lot of games, and he was commentating a few of them, and I was like, Joel Kane, Brian Fletcher, radio show. God, that's going to be loose. And I was like, I'm in. I want it. So it's amazing. It's funny how you go from TV, which is so structured and everything's to a time, and it's got to be you're going to talk about this for a minute, and then Braith's going to talk about this, and Lara's going to go throw out to the game. It's all so structured, and I guess there is a bit of pressure there when you're doing the shows. The games are awesome, but you go to radio, and it's just what are we going to talk about today? And that was our goal, to make it not just a typical AM sports show, where we just, here's the talk topic, and we're going to just take text for 3 hours on the same thing. We want to talk about league. We want to talk about rugby if it's topical. We want to talk about OnlyFans accounts. We want to talk to all different people. We've been chatting to the Batuta Advocate guys recently who are doing a documentary series, which has been great for Warner Brothers and Paramount. Just being able to have a show instead of just focusing on league. Yes, league is the big thing, and the two guys used to play rugby league. But to talk about different things that are topical in the news. Like crossing over to Kirsty Stanway and Stephen Donald every Wednesday is great. And we had a bit of a taste of Stephen McIver. Who's an interesting cat, let's say. But it's just great that we can sort of like bounce around and speak to different people in different walks of life that have been successful in all these different areas, and it's amazing. And I'm so happy I've done the switch over and been able to work with you, mate, and also just with all the people that you get to meet in such a position.
Yeah, nice work, bro. Nice work. Have you had any real, train wreck sort of interviews with the guys?
Oh, yeah, of course. They're pretty much all train wrecks, but they're funny train wrecks. We had Kamal, who's an entertainer in Australia, who that sort of got a bit awkward. But generally they've been pretty funny. I think you go to the person that you're interviewing and go, we're going to talk about this, this, and this. Look, I might just warn you, Fletch might talk about your love life. Joel might come up with some crazy conundrum for you. So just be on your toes. And that's sort of it. And I think everyone out would go, oh, I didn't expect it to go that way, but that was a good chat. They're both really good at doing interviews, and you just sit back and I'm just cracking up in the background because it's just like, oh, you can't ask them that. Like, what are you doing? But yeah, yeah, I think the nature of it is you're walking a tightrope through most of those interviews, but they generally come out pretty good.
Tell you what, one thing I really love about those two guys in particular is the fact that what you see, their persona on TV is exactly what you get in real life. They're just genuine fellas and really good guys. So yeah, awesome that you guys are causing some trouble with them every day. Now, bro, before we let you go, just a quick question on how far do you think the Warriors can go in 2023?
Well, after the last few weeks, it just keeps expanding. So I thought they were early days, sketchy top 8 team at best. I was like, yeah, they could definitely play week 2 of finals. I definitely think they're contenders. Like, before the last few weeks, I thought there was 4 teams that are solid. South, Storm, Broncos. Oh, I forgot the
Panthers?
Panthers, of course, the Panthers. Oh, that was granted, And now I think that you've got to add the Warriors to that. I think they're performing against really good teams. The defense is important. That's what counts, right? Defense is what's going to win you the premiership. It always has. It's been a metric for all the teams that have won in recent times. The Roosters, the Storm, the Panthers who have won, they've all prided those wins on defense. And they've won some of those grand finals on stout defence. So I think you can tick that box for the Warriors. It's just a matter of if they can turn up. There's a lot of guys that haven't played limited finals footy, and this is going to be the challenge for them. Is this the year that they just get the taste and then go on with it in 2024? But I think they can do it this year. I honestly think they can do it this year. They can get on a run. They can make the grand final. We've seen it with really good Warriors teams that have sort of just rolled in and just got momentum, and I think this team has those characteristics. So, yeah, I definitely think they could be in the grand final.
Oh, mate, I like the way you talk, bro. I like that. Now, bro, thanks for coming on tonight. Really awesome to get your insights and the view from over the fence. I think, has Border got one more question?
Yeah, just one question. I think we kind of need to know. It's kind of 2 questions, but first question is, did you get an invite to Paul Vaughan's party in 2021?
I didn't, and I probably wouldn't have gone because they were just terrible.
I was going to ask you if you were there, was Jack de Bellin definitely under the bed?
Don't get me started. He would have had to have been under the bed, surely. This time around, definitely.
Well, this is a 200 game too on Friday, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a 200. Yep.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
what a shame.
I know, and that was the thing with Hunt. Like, he was just like, oh, we didn't turn up for de Bellin, and I'm like, and you guys have done enough for him, and that, like I said with Flano, like, he wasn't convicted as such, but he's been given an opportunity to play NRL again. That's enough, right? And celebrating him playing 200 games. He's been good for the club on the field, but yeah, just that point, that situation that he got in has been a massive tipping point for the decline of the team. So that's the way I see it. It's not so much that, it's just been a really disappointing last 5 years since that event.
Yeah, fair enough, bro.
Yeah.
Well, we will be sure to get you back on only the next time, hopefully, we win. If we beat you by 30 points, we'll get back on. If you beat us, then don't worry about it. But no, thanks, bro. Thanks very much for joining us. Been awesome talking to you, man.
Great to be a part of it, gents. I'm looking forward to listening to a few more episodes. This has been great.
Awesome. Thank you, Brooksy. Nathan Brooks from SEN 1170. Sydney's home of sport. He's from the home run with Brian Fletcher and Joel Kane. Yeah, bro, thank you very much for joining us.
No problems. Have a good night, gents.
Thanks, bro.
Have a good one, mate.
Awesome. Some really cool insights there. I thought just getting a bit of a extra perspective outside the old, the Warriors sort of tunnel vision that we may have at times. But yeah, what did you boys make of that chat?
I like his thoughts on Flanagan and DeBellin. All the celebration around DeBellin's 200th was like, oh yeah, but what did he put the actual club through by just being a bit of a mullet, with that, what was it? It was that rape case. I was just like, do you really want to celebrate a guy like that? And then do you want to throw a lifeline to a guy like Flanagan when there's other, worthy sort of candidates for the head coach role? It's like, fuck, you're going from one bad decision to the next. So it's completely agree. It must be hard for him being such a die-hard fan as well, just to see those sorts of decisions being made.
Yeah.
So it's like funny to hear his thoughts on it. So that's really good.
Yeah, I think if you add to that, the other thing I add on top of that is he obviously mentioned the DMC, the Dirty Moocher Club, having split allegiances, right? So you've got kind of what seems to be a big brother with the Dragons, and then you've obviously got the little brother with the Steelers. But that decision making in the front office, the strategic view, so hard to get right. And look, maybe some Warriors fans have to eat a bit of humble pie with the frustrations of Robbo last year. People were like, this guy's too involved in the club, he thinks he runs everything, and he obviously owns the club. But looking back at that clear decision making, getting shit done, how quickly you can move on and progress, and obviously if you look back at the decision to say kakite to Logie, because clearly that was a great decision. Although we were gutted at the time because of the 700,000 we were losing in the cap, but shit, it hasn't really affected us this year, has it? Really? So
And
maybe it's definitely affected the Roosters.
The whole thing around creating a new culture. I think from the sounds of it, with Flanagan coming in, it doesn't really create that kind of standard going forward. And DeBellin, what's happened there. And I think that's the opposite with Webster. I think when he's come into the Warriors, he's created this confidence with everybody, and he's taken this kind of new approach to how, they can start believing in themselves.
And to put his point about Logie being let go last year, there were some really unhappy fans out there saying, what the hell are the club doing? They're letting go of 700k, another nice decision. But when you look back on it now, it couldn't have been a better decision for the club, just because, they needed the right people in the team, in the squad. Logie obviously didn't fit because he's not in with the Roosters either at the moment. Yeah. He's on the outer. He's gone. So best decision ever, even though it cost us 700 grand, completely worth it to let him go. And that's a decision that they had to make, and they stuck to it, stuck to their guns, and it's paid off.
Yeah.
There must have been more behind the scenes, with Logie, because I think, we don't know.
Oh, he's a head case, man.
Yeah, he's a
unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think he's one of those individuals, unfortunately, that gets kind of, just grates on other members of the team. I think Cheese actually alluded to the fact that in his kind of quirky way, that he lost his head and his head is already falling off. So I just think he's a bit of an outlier, right?
It's showing, he's jumping from team to team. Yeah.
Yeah, just one of those journeymen, He just never find the right fit, or he's just never going to be a fit.
Unfortunately, he's never people have bad past, but what he did was pretty horrific. Many years ago, and people can reform, but I don't think a lot of people, like, remember Jared Wallace at the Titans just doesn't, he was quite outspoken, just didn't have a lot of time for him, and obviously clashed quite a lot, and so he's just quite divisive. So decision vindicated, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
absolutely.
word. Yep.
Now, boys, obviously a 30-point win. It's got us all feeling in a pretty good mood. Let's poke some holes in it, shall we?
Yeah.
Where can we get better? Let's start with you. Who wants to go first? Anyone?
I'll go
Don't want to be that guy, like, it's amazing, but no one wants to talk because I was like, don't want to be that guy.
Don't want to get chewed out by the fans. There was a period of play where they got kind of scrappy when they were trying too hard, and I think we've alluded to this point in previous podcasts as well. When the Warriors pushed too much, they push the ball around, kind of go outside the scope of their game plan. They get kind of messy. When you want them just to go back to the grind, and then stick to the game plan of just getting themselves into a good position to attack. They weren't doing that for maybe a 10-15 minute period, and then they were like, knock, oh, what are we doing here? Let's get back to the game plan.
Yeah.
So, but I worry about them if they were to do that against one of the maybe better oppositions, that they would put points on them in that sort of situation. But that's a very small gripe in an otherwise amazing game.
Yeah, for sure. One guy who I was excited to see do well, probably in the earlier stages anyway of the game, and that was Marcelo Montoya. Because I remember the last time he played against the Dragons, he had a few problems with Mr. Ravalawa. I thought he was a really, really good, performer out there. Moneta, who did you like particularly? If you had to pick one guy from the Warriors team from that performance, who did you like the most?
I mean, you can state the obvious. DWZ played brilliantly, but I think AFB. I think I watched the game again, and his ball playing skills, like, he's added another dimension to his game. Like the way he's bringing people in, and the way he's like passing it off and setting it up for Sean Johnson down the right hand side. So he's not just a front rower anymore. He's kind of almost another ball player when I watched him again. So obviously DWZ played fantastic. I mean, that's the thing. It's harder to. It's like who played bad, and you can't actually name one person that actually played really bad. Like the way last year was like kind of the opposite. You could easily go, oh yep. This year it's kind of like, oh no, actually they did pretty well. I mean, like, I guess if Metcalf got a bit exposed in terms of the palm off from who's the fullback for the
Tyrell Sloan.
Yeah. So a couple of times they targeted him, but yeah, AFB's probably starting to surprise me the most. But DWZ, well, I love those locks, Jesus. I just think it's sold my way.
The genie going to grant us 3 premierships, maybe.
He's mastered that put down as well, where he, swivels and puts the ball aside.
I want that song in the stadium, Soul Glow.
Can someone request that they play that at Go Media Stadium every time he scores a try?
Yeah. Especially the high bit, hey? That falsetto, like.
And then he can just look at the camera and be like,
He needs to grow that little mo, that little half.
just a little
Kids from mo.
Yeah, I like how he's having to defend himself as well, because all of the commentators are they're clicking onto it and going, "Hey, he's playing pretty well. Is it a perm?" And he's like, "No, it's absolutely not a perm.
It's all natural.
It's all natural." So, really cool stuff from Dallin. Now, Buddha, I was going to ask you something. Like a lot of the season, we've kind of been going under the radar, and all of a sudden, people are talking about us. Michael Ennis said the Warriors' middle is one of the most threatening in the NRL. I saw some of the Channel 9 guys, the Underfire, Freddie Fittler and Andrew Johns, talking about how slick their passing game is at the moment. How do you think we can progress things further to take that sort of next step as we head towards, the business end?
I think we showed just in the weekend the progression from of attack in particular, and to put the point of who played. I mean, everyone played well. There was obviously some clear standouts, but two players, and in particular, one player in particular, their progression was Chance. I mean, he's been played amazing all year, right? Like his energy, his consistency, his tough carries. So, he takes carry the fourth tackle carry to get a quick play the ball in tackle 5. You always take the kick return carry. So it's like some cases, 2 carries a set. But he had 4 try assists. He was sweeping out the back of shape. And, last week he scored at the back of shape. And then this week he laid on those tries for Dallin. So just adding that extra, dimension where he didn't have at the start of the season in terms of attack. We didn't have that. And now we've added that. So we've obviously scored tries out wide. So we've kind of, yes, they can target us, and yes, they're going to focus on, take us a bit seriously. They've been focusing on the middle, but if they jam us in the middle, we'll play edges. Yeah. So we've actually just layered. We just keep layering, which was very nice.
The layer cake.
The layer cake. And then I think the other part we've got, which kind of be added dimension now with troops coming back. I know Marata is going to be out for 3 weeks, but with Mitch coming back, filling holes. But Dylan Walker goes back to 14. When he came on, was at a time when there was, we were sort of, the middle was in the even, they were holding us a bit. He comes in, his extra leg speed, gets over the advantage line, the carries just start rolling forward, and next thing you know, then he's starting to play. So, they're going to try target us, but we've just got lots of options. If they jam us here, we go wide. We've got players changing all the time, so it's awesome. Like, it's scarily awesome.
Yeah.
There was one other thing I noticed as well, and that was from Tohu. He started to look for the offloads, and he hasn't been doing that all season. I think maybe that's something that they've tried to drill down on in the bye weeks, and they said they were looking to add a couple of strings to the bow. Tohu's started to look for the offload and stuff like that too, which I thought was quite interesting because he hasn't been doing that at all this season. So maybe he feels like he can get away with that sort of thing now. And I didn't mind it at all. I think more offloads the merrier. I think there was a primo offload from Pompey to Metcalf. It was like, fuck, just out of nowhere. It's like,
AFB to Sean Johnson too.
Yep.
They did. Oh, that one was just absolute gold, eh? Like, SJ knew exactly what was going to happen, and AFB was just like, the biggest 5'8" in the world.
It was funny that one because AFB, it was like a kind of a set plan move because obviously they got into shape, but it obviously relied on AFB getting free and putting the ball through. And it was like, before he got to the line, it was like, I'm going to pass it. You can't do shit.
Yeah.
Passed it. But that let me Metcalf kind of in support is the component that his game is. He doesn't need to ball play. He will be another option, but there's so many options. Yep. His job is to be sniffing around the balls.
Balls, eh?
Sniff around the balls.
I like as well that we're looking to use him like that, because he's played a lot of fullback as well. A lot of people actually say that's his best position, but a lot of times, or a couple of times that we've looked to use him in that little support inside runner role, and we very nearly got some real, dividends from it on Friday night. Also, I've got to say a couple of things as well in terms of our man management. I think it's great that we were able to give Tohu a rest. Probably helps him get the offload game going. Also, the fact that we took off Wade Egan ourselves. We didn't get independent doctor or anything say, hey, take him off. We were just, they just said, hey, let's go and look after our guy. And he obviously came back as well and did all right. So that's all.
Just want to check something with that. Does that become, was he HR, was that an HI interchange? Or because we took him off, they didn't HI him? I wonder, because obviously it's even greater player welfare if we've taken him off without receiving a free interchange. Versus, obviously, when they go off for HIA, you'll get a free interchange.
Is that only... I thought you only got the 18th man if it was from foul play and you got
Oh, no,
HIA.
not 18th
Yeah.
man, but you get a free interchange.
Oh,
So
okay.
out of your
Yeah.
8 interchange,
Yep.
if you're HIA'd, you just get a free in and off, on and off.
Maybe.
Yeah,
So it
yeah,
doesn't
freebie.
count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we
Which
just
can
do
be
that?
strategic.
Just do that for everyone.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing they're talking about. Like, faking, you know, like to get a free interchange. But, I suppose that early in the game, you're not looking for a freebie, are you?
Yeah.
But Wade Egan, he's got a history, right? And they just
Yeah.
the precaution around him, and it showed that they cared about their player welfare and stuff. But with Bailey Surinam coming in, he stepped up
Oh.
too. Jesus,
He played good. Man, he was good in that dummy half role. I thought he was great.
Yeah.
His ball distribution as well. He's tough.
We picked it here. We told Richie Aga. We told him.
Yeah. So what
Sizzle.
happens?
The strong hand.
But one other thing, and we were poking holes, and this is a bit of a hard one, conundrum, because obviously we were starting to offload a bit more. But there was one set which kind of annoyed me because we were just pulling them apart. Every time we got into their 20, we'd just set up, get some shape, and we'd go wide. But there was a set where we just kept offloading. So every time we offloaded, we're out of shape. And we're like, okay, we're running over here. And then like, oh, no, going to offload over here. It's like, nah. I think Shawnee was like, I think he got a bit frustrated. He was like, fucking set me up, man. I want the ball here.
Yeah.
But it's hard because you get the offload and anything can happen.
Yep.
So, I guess it's that balance. Maybe that's our new dimension. Yes, we got the offloads, but sometimes those offloads can hurt you if you're in certain areas where right, we get here, we line up, and then we hit them on the side.
I think it's just about a case of getting used to it, because like maybe back in the golden days, the 2002s and stuff, that's what they knew. They were like, we are used to doing the offload game and we've mastered it. And then you're to that exact point in time in the last game, they were like, what the fuck are we doing? And they were just uploading and they were just like,
But you know what I mean? When you got a team on the rack like that,
yeah.
that's what they had. We had them on the rack. All we needed to do is get to a certain point in the field. It was shelling peas. Like, it was literally what the Sharks did to us, last year. And in that first 30 minutes, they literally just got to one side, bang, 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 in the corner. Versus, and you got some teams are so strong defensively that you actually need like an offload to break up their structure as well. So maybe it's, like, hey guys, you don't need to offload in this situation just because get it down here, spin it wide, you're going to score a try. Versus, playing a really strong, like a Penrith Panthers, they've got everything covered. The only thing they don't have covered is the shit that they can't plan for.
Yeah. Now, in terms of New South Wales Cup, the Warriors went down, actually, beaten by the Dragons, 18 points to 16. They were actually up by, it was like 18 points to 6, and then they sort of let things, 16 points to 6 and let things slip from there. But that's all right. They get a chance to bounce back, hopefully, next week against the Rabbitohs at Go Media Stadium in Mount Smart, which we're actually we're going to look at the game coming up this Friday night. It's already coming around quickly, isn't it? Isaac, would you like to give us a rundown on some Greg Spence expense account?
Okay. I can certainly give it a try. Bunty Afoa, Tohu Harris, and Sean Johnson, the only players who were involved in the Wars, last victory over the Rabbitohs back in Perth.
The toes.
Round one.
Round 1, 2018.
I remember that
so
game.
long ago.
We were awesome. That was a good season, obviously, but we came out and just punched them in the face, man.
Yeah.
We were so good in that game.
We had a rookie guy, was it Isaiah Papali'i, I remember. Come on.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Pups.
Next, the last time that the Warriors were in the top 4, any later... Well, 2011 is the last time the Warriors were in the top 4 any later than round 15. So...
Sneaky.
Sneaky grand final year.
We're making it top 4, guys? We're definitely making it to top 4 by the end of the round robin.
Even if we don't, we're going to beat teams in the top 4.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Charles. Oh, I love the name. Charles Nickel Clockstad's unbeaten NRL record at Mount Smart stands at 7 games and dates back to his debut in round 9 of 2017. Despite his success at the venue, CNK has yet to score an NRL try there.
Yeah. Oops, good time.
NRL there. Score an NRL there.
Let's just move on.
Expense account. Yay.
Thank you. Ching, ching, ching. Thank you, Greg
Ching.
Spence, as well, for
Spencer.
sending us actually multiple versions of the expense account this week because we were waiting on a result from the Bunnies game, and
Yeah, that was the
they
multiverse.
flopped. Now, speaking of the Bunnies, some good news coming up for the game on Friday night, and that is the fact that there's going to be a bumper crowd there, aided by the fact that we've already sold the thing out.
Yeah,
Where is
sold
it?
out.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Hello. So that's exciting. I think it's going to be a bloody awesome spectacle next Friday night. And just also remember, Rabbitohs are not an animal. So just a bit of a throwback there to one of our earlier seasons. I think that was one of the earliest episodes we ever did.
It was, yeah.
The old bunnies.
Yeah.
So where do we look to try and take the Bunnies on this Friday night? Moneta, they copped a bit of a hiding today against the Cowboys. So what do you expect us to focus on, against them back home?
I think that's the same formula. Just keep on doing what we're doing. Just kind of we're staying strong in our defense, because I think that's what's kind of leading us to these tries, because we're kind of suffocating them in terms of them being in our kind of territory. And then we'll get to their end. We've tied them out a bit, and then we've kind of just played a bit structured in terms of how we're attacking the try line. So just keep on doing what they're doing, I think. That 3 games in a row, we've scored over 30 points. We've got the third best defensive,
Record.
We're third best, aren't we? We're third best now,
Yeah.
I think.
I think second best, aren't we?
Might be second, yeah.
Second, so
Behind
let's
the
keep on doing
Panthers.
what we're doing. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. And TMM's back next week too, Tomato Martin. So, but I'm not quite sure how they're going to play that. So,
Mate, what
interested to see if they want to keep on continuing with Metcalf.
That's the smoothest segue I think we've ever had, Moneta. Thank you for that. Porter, we've got troops coming back. We've got one going out, and that being Marata Nukore. Guys, I got to actually put this question to you. We've got much longer to go, but was that tackle worth 3 weeks? I know he's got priors. I know
The
that.
tackle itself isn't, mate, but it's the loading, bro.
Yeah.
It's the
But you can see the look
surprise.
on his face. Like, he didn't go in there with the shoulder. Sure, his head hit his shoulder, but you could just see the bemusement on Murata's face. He was like, "You've got to be shitting me here."
The commentary was
Like,
going hard on it. They were going,
Well,
this
yeah,
is
Johns was
yeah.
giving it a hard time, wasn't he?
I think this is,
the commentary was saying that it wasn't a send off. I think, and they were like, going, "Oh, okay."
or they've kind of said that it's kind of come back again. This, send off because classic NRL. It's out of fashion. It's in fashion, out of fashion. But and I think Channel 9 talked about, like Joey John said, like Suli is lowering himself coming down.
True.
Which in the rugby verse in the other code, that's mitigation, right? They look at that player mitigation, so they don't send it to a red card or 3 weeks on the sideline. So it's frustrating, but look at it this way: he's going to get a little enforced break to freshen up, so he's going to be firing for the back end.
And he's been playing well too. So we're keeping our guys fresh. We're looking after them, and we're also getting them suspended every once in a while just to keep them,
Tragedy.
Isaac, Mitch Barnett is coming back from suspension. So how do you think we work things in terms of, obviously Marata's going out from the second row? Does maybe Mitch come in and jump straight into that spot, or maybe from the bench? What are your thoughts on how they work that?
I reckon he plays from the bench and Curran goes into the second row. Curran unfortunately didn't get that many minutes in the game on Friday. I'd like to see more minutes from him anyway, and I think the last time he got a good run, Curran, which I think was against Canberra, was it against Canberra? He got plenty of minutes and played a good game. I mean, I'd like to see more of that. I feel bad for Curran, so I think he'll be fizzing to go in that second row, and then Barnett will come off the bench just to ease him back in, I guess. And Bunty can start.
Yeah, nice. Boys, we've got to jump out of here because we're out of time. Let's go quickly around the room. We'll start with you, Moneta. Give us a result and a score.
Warriors 30-12.
Ooh, yes. Buddha.
Warriors 26-20.
Okay, yeah. Isaac.
Ooh, I don't know what the weather's going to be like, but I'm going to say if it's raining, it might be 18-14 Warriors. If it's a good day, 28-22.
Nice, boys. I'm gonna back us get 30 plus points 4 weeks in a row. We'll get 30-22. That'll be the tail of that. Also, don't forget the New South Wales Cup game on before that as well. So it's going to be a feast of footy coming up for Warriors fans. So, guys, let's jump on out of here. On behalf of Daniel Wharekura, Isaac Sauce and Moneta Sauce, it's been a pleasure. Thank you to Nathan Brooks for joining us. And this is Warriors Anonymous. Catch us on Facebook, Insta, Twitter. Also, you can follow and subscribe on Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Check us out. Share us to your friends if you want. That'd be nice. And yeah, just generally share the love or whatever you got. It's great to have you guys with us, and hopefully we can take it to the bunnies who, yes, they're not an animal. Anyways, we'll catch you guys later, and as we always do, go the Warriors!